All right, boys and girls, we are going to finish up our lessons for our multiples, factors, and prime and composite. So the first video you just watched was on multiples and factors. Multiples were the numbers that we got when we multiplied two numbers together. So when we count by that number, so 10, 20, 30, 40. Um, Factors are the numbers that you multiply together to get those multiples. So when we looked at getting 12, 2 times 6 was 12, or 3 times 4 was 12. We listed all of the numbers that you could use to get to that same number. The last thing we're going to look at is prime and composite numbers, okay? Um, and prime and composite numbers are where prime is there's not a lot of factors for that number, and that'll make sense in just a minute. And composite means there are lots of numbers for that number, lots of factors to get to that number. Okay, so when we look at our word problem here to get us started, it says Max has 2 red tiles, 3 blue tiles, 4 yellow tiles, and 8 green tiles. They want to know, using all of the tiles of each color, how many different arrays can he make from each color? So I'm going to do red here. I'm going to split this up. We have 4 different. So I'm going to kind of make like a little 4 square here for a minute. Okay. We have our red, our blue, our yellow, and our green. Okay. Now, when I look at the number 2, the array that I make could be this. Now I could turn it so it could be like this. But either way I slice it, I'm still doing a 1 by 2 or a 2 by 1. Okay. Same. Let's look at our blue. They have 3 blue tiles. I could do a 1 by 3 array, or I could do a 3 by 1. But either way, I'm still doing a 1 times 3. Okay? Or 3 times 1. It's the same fact. And then I get to 4. Well, I could do 4 this way. I could do 4 this way. But I could also do a 2 by 2. So if I were to list these out, I did a 1 times 4 and a 2 by 2. And then we get to 8. And I could do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could also do this one up and down. Okay. I could do a 2 by 4. I could turn that and do a 4 by 2. Okay. But either way, I did a 1 times 8 and a fact of 2 times, not 8, 4. Okay. So when I look at these, or I look at the factors, red was 2, blue was 3, yellow was 4, and green was 8. Okay. I'm going to box my numbers here. When I look at these are the factors for those numbers that we started with. Okay. Remember the factors from the previous video. Okay. So when I look at this, I say, okay, well, 1 and 2 are the only factors for 2. There's no other numbers to multiply to get 2. 1 and 3 are the only factors for 3. I can't get there any other way. And I look at 4. 1 and 4 and 2 and 2 are factors of 4. 1 and 8 and 2 and 4 are factors of 8. So if you look at the screen, what is the biggest difference? What do you notice between the numbers of factors for 2 and 3 compared to the factors for 4 and 8? And if you look at that, I only have one set of factors for 2 and 3, or for 4 and 8, I have 2 sets, right? Okay. And that is the difference between prime and composite. 2 and 3 are prime numbers because I can only multiply 1 and that number to get there. Okay. If it's a composite number, I have multiple ways. I have at least 2 different ways or 2 factors to get there. So that is the biggest difference between prime and composite. Prime I only have one set of factors. Composite, we have more than one set of factors. We have more than one way to get to that number. Okay, so you're going to have a few different practice exercises on your sheet tonight using these different, the multiples, the factors, and the prime and composite. Multiples and factors, like I said, should have been a little bit more of a review for you. Prime and composite may be a little bit more tricky or newer to you. So please rewatch this and practice coming up with the prime and composite and how to determine if they're prime or composite. Thank you, boys and girls.